All right. This is the WMB show. I am very happy to be with you again tonight. And we have a very in depth story to tell and a little bit of history, but we're going to mix it up tonight because I really want to try to, on a constant basis, reiterate a lot of the things that people just need to know. The foundation of history of America and the world in terms of white people and black people and how we got to where we are today is a constant theme of the show. Because I think the more you say it, the more it becomes true, because it is true, and that's what this show is about. Speaking truth to power. And if I can just make it a dent in the historical lies that have been told up to this very moment, 2019, May 29th, then, I am doing what my ancestors have called me to do. Speak truth to power. Economic power, political power, social power, and religious or spiritual power. Because everything begins in the mind, and when you begin to live your life based on what is right, just, and true, the whole world changes, the whole dynamic changes, the whole flow changes, and that's what this show is about. There is so much hate in this world that we live in that it seems as though Set, the evil twin of Osiris, is always constantly winning. But that's what we are faced with on an individual basis and collectively as a world, that we have to become more and more cognizant of those two extremes of each of us, and that we cannot afford to keep feeding the bad wolf, the wolf of greed, gluttony, sloth, envy, pride, wrath, and lust, the seven deadly sins, that causes us to become more doubtful, more fearful, more apathetic to what is really going on. And that's what the show is about. Facing evil, conquering it, and putting it into the smallest corner possible. And living the virtues of life. Frugality, resoluteness, kindness, character, integrity. These are the kinds of things that draw people to other people who are truly a good example of what it is and what it means to be a human being. Having empathy for those who have less. And if you have more and you're suffering from arrogance, that's really on you. Because money is supposed to make you better, not worse. And if you have money and plenty of it, it is often said that parties and races will come to you. Because at some point in your life, you turned it around. And you made a difference, not only in your life, but you can make a difference in other people's lives. And that's what this show is about. How can we make it more plain, make it more obvious, make it more simple for other people to see and to feel and to touch and to know that you are more than what you have become, that you are an integral part in all of the mechanics of life, that you are not just a cog in a big wheel. You're one of the many cogs that make a difference. And whether that's worldly or worldwide, that's one thing. That's fame and fortune. But at what point do you say, Bob, Sally, whatever your name may be, I'm making a difference in my life. Let me make a difference in my children's lives, my family life, in my neighborhood, my block, my community, the city, state, and nation that you live in. So each and every day, it is very important to put forth the best effort possible. To let go of all of the negativity that you might be experiencing personally that you bring upon yourself or whatever that may be, and you turn it around 180 degrees. And that you make a difference, you leave a legacy for others to follow. And oftentimes than not, you find that when you are living a virtuous life and you are sidestepping the seven deadly sins, as I have spoken about so many times on other videos of this channel, WMB of Lies and Deceit, you will find that you live a better life, less headache, less stress, and you attract more people to you who are like-minded. It is so very important, you guys, to know that when you let go of negative people and circumstances, your whole life changes. It's like waking up after a thunderstorm and torrential rains, that the sun comes out and starts to bless you more than you could ever imagine. And I'm hoping that this show come to that level of conclusion for a lot of people. This show about love, love of self, love of others, and love of all. And the most important love is the love of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Because when you can exude that, and I'm hoping that a lot of people will begin to see the commonality and the foundational emphasis in which I'm trying to express on the show, it's not about hate at all. Because that's an integral part of our well-being and of our being as human beings. How how are we as a race? Well, no, as a species, the human race is not. There's no such thing as a species. How are we as humans going to know love if you never know hate? Going to know justice if we don't know injustice? So there's always this split, and we have to be cognizant and conscious of that, and conscientious of how we treat other people. So, we live in a democratic society where those who make the rule, or those who have the goal, make the rule. And that's America. We don't live in a socialistic country. But be it as it may, and however it may be, it is important as a nation that we live up to our Constitution, that no one is above the law, and that everyone must pay homage to our Constitution, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are given the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That's it. And there's no guarantees in life, only death. But with faith and knowing and believing that we can do it and we have the opportunity to do it, is all that is needed. Faith without work is dead, and when we begin to work towards our dreams and our goals, whatever they may be, you will find that it is not easy. Faith doesn't make it easy, but it makes it possible. And that's all of what it is. And that's all of what it's about. So, with that being said, we're going to kick it off and let's get at it. Wow, it went through without it's a little bit of buffering, but I'm happy with it. At least we can say we kind of conquered that for tonight. I don't know about tomorrow, but or the next day or the day after, but at least we got that done. But listen, guys, I'm really beginning to feel this podcast and my ability to really be able to express my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions. And sometimes it gets out of whack and check, and I'm gonna cuss and scream and holler because the most criminal act that one can do is against children. I am going to battle that on this show until I take my last breath. Because there's no sense of hurting children. I just don't get that. And all this racial animus that I speak about in my book 1 and 2, which is what you are seeing right now, The White Man's Burden of Lies and Deceit, and also book 2, The White Man's Burden of Lies and Deceit 2, Understanding White Supremacy, you got to realize that, like I have said many a time before, that when you participate in evil, it gets you. You lose. You might not lose in the beginning, but you lose a hell of a lot in the end. You lose a lot of integrity, a lot of character, a lot of contact, a lot of people who might have looked up to you, and you just lose it all. And I truly believe that white people, as we know them today, are suffering from a super demonic possession known as white supremacy and white superiority. There is absolutely positively nothing superior about you. Because if you are truly superior, you don't have to shout it. You don't have to beat your chest and and say, "I'm superior to you." Come on, man. Come on. If you are truly superior, you're gonna create other superior people because you want them to you want to see them do better than you. That's a true superior person who's not hiding how they got to where they are and are more than willing to share what they know, the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to make another person better. And the aspect of knowing that the promised land is between your ears, not in Israel and proper, or any other part of Africa or any other part of this world, is that when you begin to really preach that and teach that to people, man, you are becoming a true star, a true leader, and you are creating other true stars and leaders. And this is what this show is about. Letting go of the hate, grabbing hold of what is true, and making a difference. And firstly, with you as an individual, and secondly, as a whole, as a nation, as a world. Because this constant battle between Satan and Osiris, or good and evil, is a constant battle that we must fight on a daily basis, weekly basis, yearly basis, forever and ever and ever. It never goes away. And this is what we must teach our children to know that hate always loses in the end, but love, the love of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom always wins. And you stand taller with less stress, with less headaches, with less problems. Because, look, an old person told me a long time ago, problems are easy to get into, but hard as fuck to get out of. Because once you are in it, man, you're going to pay a price to get out that motherfucker. And there's a price that white folks need to pay in order to get out this problem of white supremacy and letting go of this super demonic possession and mental illness that they have and thinking that they're white or they're Caucasian or European or Anglo-Saxon, and you're not. And without going into further detail, I explain that in my book. But it has been the greatest con game that white men have been playing over the last 150 years. And no lie lives forever. I mean, truth is truth if no one believes it, and a lie is a lie if everyone believes it. And right now, I am always and forever standing on what is right, just, and true because I know in the end, I will be delivered unto the promised land of fame and fortune to whatever degree that might may be, and to happiness because I am truly happy right now. And as I have stated before, happiness means doing the thing or things in your life that give you meaning, purpose, sense of direction, and fulfillment. And again, this is what this show is about, bringing the best out of every person possible, allowing them to bloom, to express themselves, to grow, and become more knowledgeable, wiser, and understanding. Because in all truth, and for people who read the Bible, right? Yeah, the Bible says, "And all of thy getting, get understanding. In all of thy getting, get understanding." And that's all that's required. And I can add knowledge and wisdom to that. Because, like I have stated before many a times, people have knowledge about wearing a seatbelt. Wisdom says put it on, and the understanding is that it can save your life. You need all three. And before we get into the real nuts and bolts of what tonight is, I really want to try to, you know, focus in on um, the importance of self, you guys. I mean, I can't imagine anything more important than self. Because when you know thyself, thyself you shall be true. That's the first law. As if I'm not mistaken, what's his name? The wise guy, long time, Socrates said, "Know thyself, and to thyself be true." And when you can open up and explore your own mind, your own soul, your own heart, and come to terms with yourself, God, man, you become a God. And that's what it's all about. God doesn't exist outside of you, but within you. And, I find it amazing that a lot of people are lacking in that particular amount of understanding. And, it kind of makes me upset that people are not really focusing in on knowing yourself and to be able to, work it out, whatever the case may be, whatever problem they may be having. But in reality, once you begin the journey inward, you become the master of yourself. And there is no greater calling than that. And when you have mastered yourself, everything outside of you, becomes easy. You become more relaxed. You become more dedicated, more firm in your beliefs, more firm in your knowing. And because when your faith and knowing become rock solid, like you can ride a bike, there's no way that no doubt can creep up into your mind about riding a bike or anything else that you want to do in your life. Simple. And it's very important to me that people see this, man. I talk about it on a daily on this show and how important it is to master oneself and to become your own master. Because we can read about other people being successful or doing this or doing that and having this and having that. But what does that contribute to you? That's them. You know what I mean? But in the end, you gotta take that journey inward. You gotta do it, because if you don't, you be truly dismissive of your own reality, of your own self. You are like throwing yourself into the garbage of your own existence and not dealing with whatever issue that you may have. And to be honest, you know, uh, that's the whole purpose of life: dominating, mastering oneself. And when you can do that, guys, there's no end to what you can do as on a personal level. Period. And I find it apropos to do that. And the benefits is just enormous. You become more calm, cool, collected, and more determined that no one is going to stop you from what you want to do in life. And when you can have that kind of determination, oh my God, you become a God on earth. And that's what it's all about. Never seeking God outside of you, but within you. and you become peaceful, and you begin to see things with your third eye more so than with your two eyes in your head. And that's all about the use of um, wisdom and knowledge and understanding because you begin to see more clearly. You're not swayed by emotions. You feel what I'm saying? And when you can sit back and relax and really take in what people are saying, their body language, their tone of voice, and all of this, you begin to see a lot of things that perhaps you wouldn't have, you didn't see before. And I'm hoping that this show really really hits it on the head because I really want people to know this and to be able to uh, and to see it, right? So with all that being said, we're going to go on and really get into the nuts and bolts of tonight. I got about maybe 30 things that I really want to cover tonight, and we're going to get rid of that little book here because we're going to move on to tonight's subject. So, like I was saying, we're going to cover a wide array of different things. And as I have stated before, I like using imagery and memes and stuff like that. And one other thing too is that I can't play a lot of these YouTube videos because I'm getting into some deep water with copyright. So I'm going to mention them, and then I'm going to show you what the name of that particular YouTube video is. And from there, you can go to YouTube or to CNN or whatever the news article is, and take a look at it and read it for yourself, or see whatever the video is, because I can't play it on here, so I don't want to get any strikes against my YouTube channel. All right, so now you know that, so you can pretty much tell, what the deal is with that and why I'm not playing it and stuff like that, because copyright is one thing and no copyright is another thing. I can use and do whatever I want to do with it when a person doesn't have copyright on a particular YouTube video or a news article. So I'm going to play it safe, and then you guys can take it from there and Google whatever the article may be and read it for yourself. All right. All right. Now this one is Anne Rain. Now she was very, she dead now. I don't know how many years she's been dead, but she was a very famous author, and obviously she considered herself to be white. But one of the damning things that she stated was, I can read it, it's not that long. It said the Native Americans didn't have any right to the land, and there was no reason for anyone to grant them rights which they had not conceived and were not using. What was it they were fighting for? If they opposed white men on this continent for their wish to continue their primitive existence, their right to keep part of the earth untouched, unused, and not even as property. Just keep everybody out so that you'll live practically like an animal, or maybe a few caves above it. Any white person who brought the element of civilization had the right to take over this continent. Now look, this is the attitude that white folk got because they writing the laws that took over a lot of Black Wall Street land and stuff like that. And we're going to get into other maybe that deal with that as well. But I just want people who are considered themselves or who consider themselves to be white. Listen, I'm just going to be honest with you. As I have stated in the opening of this show, when you participate in evil, evil always destroys you and itself. Always, ALWAYS, and in always, ALLWAYS. Now, I'm getting a little bit heated because I know, and I grew up with white folks, and I know how they think. They think they ass they weigh a ton, and they real light in the ass. You know what I mean? They think they created this civilization, that civilization, did this, and that, and they ain't did a damn thing. We black people civilized white people, or Christian twice, and you guys couldn't even handle that to expand it. The only thing you expanded was what you do best, spreading the four D's: death, destruction, disease, and despair. And to be honest, this is the reason why, our forefathers were trying to get you the hell up out of here. And each and every time there was another brother or group of brothers or group of other black people helping you to defeat the black people who were trying to get you out of here. And to be quite honest, the Cherokees in America helped the colonists survive when the Yamasee Indians were trying to take them the fuck out. If that had not happened, the history of America would have been totally different. All of this land that you guys took west of Appalachia would have never happened. Period. I'm just being honest. But in looking at the ideology of Ayn Rand and saying that these people were primitive, they're speaking about my people. In America, the Native American, the Indians were black people. They were changed, or their name would change from indigenous people or Indians to black, African American, by Walter Plecker. And I go into great detail about who this guy is. But this is the general mindset of these so-called primitive people who are still primitive today that we call white people. They couldn't tie a shoe, or make a shoe rather, let alone a window for a house. And this is the mentality that they have in general and specifically. And don't take this to be something, racist or backward or an attack on white people. It is not. History has shown and bear this out. They are truly still uncivilized. They may, wear Gucci belt and Ferragamo shoes or whatever the hell kind of suit they may be wearing. But that's one thing. That's a whole other thing. But still, the way in which they have gone throughout the world, killing, maiming, and blaming and taking land that's not theirs, it truly bespeaking how they are. And that is what it is. Now, Trump, we all know, and the Trump supporters, is about the most ignorant of folks that I have ever seen in my life. How in the hell did this guy get into the presidency of the United States of America? He got there because he fed into the hate that is the disease of America. And quite honestly, a lot of people are hating. And he played on that guitar of hate. And they came running like the Pied Piper of hate he is. And, he got elected. We have to deal with that. And we have to impeach this fool. And really put back, and I don't think we can ever do it, but really put back on the mantle of respect of what the office of the presidency stands for. And this guy just really a little dick bastard, trying to act like he a big dick, or he got a big dick, and he ain't. That might be a harsh way of putting it, but I'm gonna, be just as harsh as a lot of people might don't want to be, because it is necessary. When you are dealing with sharks, great white sharks, right? You gotta be the killer whale, the black killer whale. You can't deal with these motherfuckers trying to act like you're a goldfish. You'll get gobbled up every motherfucking time. So, he says, to feed the poor, don't feed the poor, don't shelter the homeless, double the military, Mary Magdalene's a 10. And then you got all these other food behind them. The savior we've been waiting for. All right. But, I digress. Now, this is a hell of a book. A hell of a book. White Cargo. I would suggest that people read it and they really deal with white slavery in America. And even if white people don't want to believe that they were slaves in America, just check your asses over there in England how you were. with the black elite and how punishing they were to the serf, and then a feudalistic system that took over the serfdom. And then that feudalistic system came to America in the 13 colonies that became the capitalistic system that we are in today. But it's a powerful book, and I would recommend that people buy it. Now here, I'm not going to read that, but you can pretty much get the gist of what it's saying. Black Indians getting written out of history, and you can pause the video and read it. But it is true that the Native American, the indigenous American, later known as Indians, were black people. Period. It's just an astounding amount of evidence pointing in that direction that these people were black people. And you don't have to look at your grandmother and your great grandmother, great great grandmother, and say, well, they were Indian. I'm Indian. You are the Indian in the family, black America. Don't let white folks run this con game on you saying that you come from Africa. There's just too much evidence pointing in the other direction. And they weren't that goddamn smart to bring 5, 10, 15, 20 million black people from Africa to America. They just really learned how to get a boat going in 1860. And all of their technological naval technology and all of that, they got from black people. So white people are not that smart. And that's not a put down. I'm just telling you what the deal was. And that the Moors brought you out of your cave-like state, your infant-like mind, and really taught you how to stand up on your 2 feet and think and write and read and doing all of this after 1492. And it took like, 400 years for you guys to be able to catch up? Come on, man. The evidence is too far out there. But that's another story. We're going to get into that too later on during this, May skit that I'm doing right now. But like I said, you can read this and pause it. Now, this is another thing. The people who the first slave wrote, and it says, if the first slave wrote in Hebrew at the first slave church established in the United States, how are we not Hebrew? Obviously, the Indians took after a lot of the Israelitic or Lydic faith and practiced the Hebraic faith. Now, this one deals with the definition of the black race. It says include the inhabitants of nearly all that part of Africa, which is south of the Great Desert, besides large numbers in North and South America and the West Indies, and so on. But that is true. I can go along with that. I agree. And this is one of the Indians. I mean, obviously, come on. I like imagery. I like images. I like photos. It speaks 1,000 words. What else do I need to show and do that these people are black in today's terminology? Now, this one, it can be debated, but the more I think about it, the more I know the Grand Canyon holds a lot of secrets, especially when you talk about America being the first place of civilization of which all of that technology went to Africa to start the civilization there as well. Because the pyramids in America are a lot older than the pyramids in Africa. And we have step pyramids. And so ancient Egyptians in the Grand Canyon, it could very well be. And you can Google this and and find out more important information. And there are books on this as well. Now, law and order in the Facebook justice system, mainly-based offenses are especially heinous. In the social network, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Butthurt Unit. These are their stories. Well, now look, excuse me, ABC. I'm not trying to, step on you guys, uh, uh, copyright on this or whatever the case may be. It's just something funny. But there are going to be a lot of, butthurt people who are going to be seeing the truth, and they just can't uh, adjust. And they're suffering from delusions of grandeur and a cognitive dissonance. And I don't have to explain what that is. You already know what that is. But surely truth always wins in the end. And that's the general theme of this show. I'm going to always speak truth to power. And to hell with all you butthurt assholes. And, this is another thing, too. When the prey is armed, predators think twice. And black folks, y'all got to get armed, man. White folks ain't playing with these guns and shit. They're cowards to begin with. They only become brave when they see you don't have a gun. But when you have a gun too, and this brought me to the attention. It brought the attention to me about this white guy who killed these two older black woman and an older black guy coming out of a hardware store. Shot him cold dead. Now, when he came up on another guy who came up on some black folks with a gun, he thought twice. Every black person, hear me out. Please hear me out. You have the right to the Second Amendment to arm yourself. You have the right to carry a gun. Go and get you a gun, go and get you a rifle, go and get your AK-47, go and get you whatever the case may be. And arm yourselves, black America, and black folks around the world. Because it's getting to this point, it gotten to this point, to be honest with you. And to give you a little bit of history, in America and in South America and South Africa, they did not get their civil rights because they were peaceful and marching and asking whitey for acceptance. They got it because they had guns. And there's a great book called Negroes with Guns. And down there in South Africa, it was Fidel Castro and his military that helped get South Africans their freedom. It wasn't Botha. It wasn't, the other guy. It wasn't the goodness of the hearts of white folk because they don't have a heart. They don't have a brain. They don't have any empathy at all because if they did, they'd just give the land back. And like I said, they are demonically possessed by white supremacy. And it's to their downfall. And they can't see the handwriting on the wall. And like I stated before and last night and many nights before, that white folks are dying. They know this. That's the reason why they're stopping abortion, at least trying to. And we're going to cover that as well. I have a video on that by CNN. That white folks are dying. Their birth rate is like 0.09 or 1.3 to maintain your population. You need a birth rate of 2.1. Black people birth rate is like 8 point something. Mexicans 9,900. I'm joking. It's about 7.5 to 8. And the population in Africa is booming, man. There's like 1.3 billion niggas on that continent, and they're growing on a daily basis. So this is what white folks fear: genetic annihilation. They're trying to figure out how to stop it, and they don't know how to stop it because they can't stop it. The world is fading back to black, and they're getting their asses up out of here. Period. And to restate and reiterate it again, Gaddafi said it best. You kill me, you're going to be opening up the door to hell forever. And now look at Europe. White folks, they're going crazy. They're getting raped, they're getting killed, they're getting beat up. Oh well, you ask for this shit. What goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. And that's history. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it is what it is. It was what it was. And it will be what it will be. Blackness is always superior to whiteness because it is. It is a godly state of being. Whiteness is not. All right? All right. You got that? Cool. Let's move on. Now here you go. You see this black guy beating the shit out of this white guy, and this is what they were doing to their own people. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not some, I'm crazy. That I'm just, creating shit that don't belong. They are notorious for killing each other. World War I and World War II. Do I need to fucking explain that bullshit to you? World War I and World War II. The biggest white-on-white crime ever. And they don't talk about white-on-white crime. They love to talk about black-on-black crime. But they're killing themselves. 93% of the people who kill white people are other white people, not black people. So get that into your heart and soul and mind. 90% of the police are killed in America are killed by white guys. It is a known fact that they're the biggest terrorists in America. White boys, white girls, white men, white women. And I got into that quite a few times, and you can look at the video that I have, and it goes into detail about that. Now the panther. Look at the eye, look at the seriousness on the face of that panther. This is what we need to do, and this is what we need to be. Stay focused, stay committed, and stay true to what our ancestors have always done and been. And being still speaking to you through me that we can do it, but it has to be the we. The we is stronger than the I. Look at the face. That's it. You don't give a shit about what white folk think, what white folk do. Sitting at a restaurant trying to eat with them or going to a theater with them. Fuck all that. And who the hell want to eat some bland ass food and some potato salad with raisins in it? You give me a sister that know how to cook and know how to throw down, I'm in. I'm going to that restaurant. I ain't waiting, trying to be nice and polite and try to sit up with white folks. If they don't want to sit with you, fuck them. Turn your back on them. This is the reason why we have been so creative and so dominating that white folk want to be niggas. And you don't see that, my people. You don't see that. They do everything they try to do that we do. They want to be black so bad they can taste it. You got to know this. And this is the reason why they went to Harlem. Not to say, nigga, teach me how to play jazz, how to play blues. They said, master, teach me how to play. You are the masters of this earth, not them. They think of themselves as being masters in the most nastiest way possible and putting somebody else down while we are lifting people up, creating new leaders and new masters of every genre. Math, medicine, law, astronomy, astrology, physics, music. We created all of these things. All right? Now moving on to 13. Now this is Hoover. Now you know who Hoover was. He was the head of the FBI for so many years. He was a gay boy with his gay lover. But then that's another story. But he says even though the Vietnam War was going on and Russia had nuclear weapons pointed at the USA through Cuba, Hoover said the black man was still the number one threat. He ain't never lied. Because this is what white folks fear. And this guy, Hoover, was a black man, passing for white. Boy, I tell you, the only thing holding black folks back are these coon-ass niggas helping white folks to stay on top. If white folks didn't add up, they wouldn't have shit. They're weak, they're lame, they're not as smart, they're dumb. Let me just put it like that. Because in all honesty, they're studying the black man who created military strategies at the most elitist and most important military academy in the world, if not in America, if not the world. And that's West Point. They studying the shit out of Hannibal, the black, Carthage. So you know, goddamn well, black man, black woman, you are the shits that they love to follow. They love putting on our 2-week-old pair of drawers like a brand new pair of drawers with shit things in them or fart things. They just love it. I'm just being honest. They love our black asses. But only if they could really accept that they are black as well, because they come from us. There were no white people 6,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 200,000 years ago, 2 million years ago. They just fucking got here 4,000 years ago through Dravidian albinos. You know what I mean? All right, now it says reason why it's black, drop out of school. Jesus was a white man. The ancient Egyptians were white. The Israelites were white people. The last Mohican was white. The last samurai was white. You know the whole nine. You can read that from here. And 100 years from now, going to say Michael Jackson was white. You know, like a lot of students just like, God damn, we ain't did shit. But pick some goddamn cotton. God damn, what? I mean, white folks just, woo, they are just out there. We better follow them. No, man, they following us, but they stealing our history. Don't fall for the okie doke. Because if you do, you're going to sit there like this, brother, at the desk, holding your head up, trying to figure out what the fuck happened. Now, he said, you mad, babe? No. Let's see a smile then. You know what I'm referring to. I don't think I have to tell you. Now, this one referred back to the Spaniards took babies from their mother's breast, grabbing them by the feet and smashing their heads against rocks. Real talk, the way it was, man inhumanity to man, and the whole nine. So you can pretty much Google this and verify it for yourself. The history of this world, in a lot of ways, is just purely demonic. Now, talk about white privilege. I have a lot of respect for Tim Allen. I mean, people can go to jail and get out and make it. But over and over and over again, we see white guys going to jail, getting out, and starting over without a problem. And you can pretty much read this. But he was brought up on charges of holding or possession of 650 grams, 1.4 pounds of cocaine. Now, if you know this was a black guy, you wouldn't have the same kind of opportunity. But I digress. And served only 2 years and 4 months in federal correctional institution in Sandstone, Minnesota. And again, white lies matter. But it matters to them because they can lie and lie and lie to themselves. But the more black folks and brown folks and people of color waking up to the truth, the more devastating it's going to be with white folks because they're the ones who have to live with the lie that the ancestors told them and the mental state in which they're in. It is truly crippling. It is a mental illness to be white and to call yourself white because you're not. White lives matter. And here again, you see in the castle, because black folk created every castles throughout Europe. White folk did not create castles. And you can see they're fighting against what they call wild men, which were white people back then. You can see the king, the queen, the soldiers, the lookout, the centurions, I think they call them, or whatever the case may have been, and the archers fighting against these people. They have not just one of these, but many, many tens of thousands of these. And you can see the name on the lower right corner, Mark Washington. Google him, and you'll see a lot of good information about this. And it's kind of small for me to try to read what it says, but you can stop the video and just read what it said there. But this is real. This is true. The black elite throughout all of Europe were controlling the majority of these so-called Christian or albinoid people or Caucasoid people that we know today as white. The black elite, the minority, were controlling, downing, Christianizing, and beating the hell out of white people. And this is pretty simple. To all Trump supporters and dumb motherfuckers, fuck you. I mean, seriously. I mean, I can't make it any simpler or any easier, because in reality, if you cannot accept the truth and you still want to believe in a lie, that's on you. And again, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I'm not here to convince anybody or anything. If you want to be dumb, motherfucker, and get the fuck on and stay away from this goddamn channel. This is for people who want to change, who want to accept the truth, who want to know the truth, and to thyself be true, and to truth be true. Because I cannot live a lie. I'm not going to, not on this channel. And as long as I have a podcast, I'm going to speak truth to power. Period. And this is the older queen. She says, white people, what about black on black crime? This is what a white person saying, me. And then she says, me. Well, what about white on everybody else's crime? Now, ain't that a bitch? That's some real shit and real talk. Excuse the noise, but every now and then you're going to hear some noise here. Cars going by, motorbikes going by. I'm doing this from my kitchen table, and we're recording it right now. But here's a photograph of what we call black people today, sitting around having a wampum, or whatever you want to call it. But it says photography was commercially introduced in 1839. Look at our great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers, our great-aunts and uncles, our forgotten elders in the 1800s, the indigenous Americans. Look like niggas to me, as some white folks would say. And, I heard in a movie, I don't know what the movie was, but they're talking about Indians and stuff like that. And the white guy at the end said, Indians and niggas, same shit. Now, again, I'm not trying to berate anybody, but the reality is Caucasians are the number one killers on the planet. The entire history is filled with war and bloodshed. World War I and World War II. Do I need to explain that shit? I don't think I do, because if I do, you're a dumb motherfucker. I'm just being honest. All right, we're coming up on 54 minutes, but we're going to run it over because I started a little bit late. But here you said, don't you think it's sad and odd that folk blame disease on heritage and genetics and not the proven fact that our food, water, and air are being systematically poisoned. Now, I talked about this on other videos about the chemtrails, about Monsanto, the whole nine. America, you can get off your lazy asses, apathetic asses, and stand up and speak up and let these politicians who work for us, we don't work for them, to get busy and clean up our air, clean up our water, and clean up our food. Hell, I talked about Fukushima and that Daiichi plant in Japan until I turned blue in the face, and I'm black as hell. And that food supply in the Pacific Ocean is entering into our food supply in America. But I digress because it's so easy to trick and to derail Americans' thought on bullshit like the Kardashians and who the fuck they fucking and Kanye dumbass and what he doing. That you get consumed with this bullshit and not with the real shit that really matters. I'm just behooved at that. Now this is a fact. You're going to hear a lot of facts, and you're going to see a lot of facts here on this show. Because I'm really going to tell it. African Moors who conquered Spain and ruled it for 700 years prior to Christopher Columbus's trip to the New World were responsible for bringing Europe out of the Dark Ages. That's real, guys. And if we had a state in control, we would be 500 years more advanced than what we are. Just imagine this world to be 500 years more advanced than what we are. White people did not put us forward, they put us back, in other words. We are living in the Dark Ages right now. Even though we might think, oh, wow, I can see people on my phone and all this other. Man, baby, bye. We would have been more advanced than this bullshit. White folks are not smart. They're just dumb and really still uncivilized, even after civilizing them twice. And here it says rule number one: don't get comfortable. Always scratch your back. Always move forward. Don't settle. Don't get settled in your mind. Don't get comfortable. I don't think I need to explain that. Because if you want progress, you must continue to move forward. And we've seen people, smoking Tide Pod, whatever the hell they were doing. Try this motherfucker. If you really want to get high and you want to see George Washington on the other side, try this shit here. Shit. God damn. Try it. You might like it. Now this is I was having a problem. Yeah, he's a real famous guy. He's still living, and he's one of the teachers. A lot of people, especially Cress Wilson, a sister of Queen who died not so long ago, and I can't think of the guy's name for the life of me. But he talked about how black folks are handling white supremacy and all this other stuff. But his name might come up to me, in my mind. But he said the purpose for studying black history is not to find out how great you were, and that's one thing. It is to find out what mistakes were made that got us in our current situation. And you know what that is? When two brothers fight, the stranger in the middle gets the key to the house. That's all what it is. White folks had never beaten us in a war, ever. They had the most advanced technology and weapons when they went into Vietnam, and those are brothers over there. And they ran their asses up out of there with their tail between their legs. So what did I tell you? They only win when another brother helped them to win against a brother or a group of brothers, you know what I mean? Like the Cherokee Indians helping the colonists survive against the deadly threat of the Yamasee wiping them out. They're weak, they're lame, they don't know how to fight. And that's the reason why they study Hannibal at West Point. They talk about niggas don't know how to do shit, but you studying the fuck out of niggas when it comes to military strategy. Right. You get what the fuck I'm talking about, white boy, white girl, white man, white woman. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now look, this might seem kind of strange and under the spell of white supremacy, but it is not. The swastika, in reality, is an old African symbol for good luck. And this is a testament to how dumb white folks are. They take our symbols and turn them into a disgusting symbol of hate. Hell, they took the cross and made it a symbol of hate. The KKK, using the cross and burning it. It just goes to show how ignorant and low life white people can be. Historically speaking, they have never ever contributed anything to the greater good, the summum bonum of humanity. Unlike black people, because we gave the world morality, you guys. And this is one thing that white folks cannot seem to conceive in their mind, heart, and soul. Empathy. And this is what leads to what I'm talking about. White folks are more narcissistic than they are empathetic. And you can see here it talks about defiant, abusive, exploitive, callous, cheats, self-absorbed, despondent, entitled. That's another thing. They really feel they are entitled. Destructive. That's another thing. Provoker. They're always trying to provoke a motherfucker. Narcissistic, falsely accused, covert, deceive. They're very deceitful. And they are the complete opposite of what black people are. And I'm not saying black people are perfect and that we do everything that the empathetic side talks about. We have black devils too. But goddamn, white folks have taken it to a whole nother level. But I digress, and if you want to continue to believe in that white folks are the shit and that they contribute to world civilization, that's on you, but that's not true. They have brought death, destruction, disease, and despair to the world, to the four corners of it. Hell, and look at the Tasmanian people. There's not one child, one man, one adult Tasmanian still alive. They killed them all and cut off the last man's testicles and turned that testicle into a tobacco pouch. There are over 25,000 skulls, heads cut off in a French museum. What the fuck are you doing with 25,000 decapitated heads in a museum if you're not narcissistic, psychotic, crazy, delusional? But I digress. All right, now we're coming up on the last few here, and I talked about this and showed another meme, and here you got a black guy sitting back. He ain't no slave, and you see white folk beating the shit out of white folk. And you can take the time to read this, but the first few words says, Chambers quotes, race, do not speak of race. We do not mind origin and color. What we assert is that slavery, whether of blacks or whites, is the regular and best condition of society. You can continue to, stop the video and read this. This is real. Oliver Cromwell was a black guy, believe it or not. And the king he served was a black guy. That he cut his head off. King George the First. Now, in America, believe it or not, this is Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. serving under George Washington. Believe it or not, that's all I'm going to say. It is true. Alexander Hamilton was a black guy. But then again, we're all black anyway. There's no such thing as white, black, red, and yellow. I ain't never seen a yellow man or a red man in my life. So, white folks just need to stop this bullshit lie that they're telling themselves and the world and destroying humanity to its common core of hate. Because in the end, hate is going to destroy you, and it is destroying you, white man, white woman, white boy, white girl, and you don't even see it. Your pride is so covered, or covering your eyes so deep and so fast and so heavy, that you can't even see your own downfall coming. You can't even see the handwriting on the wall because you don't want. You're scared, and I understand it. But here we talk about Black Wall Street. 600 businesses, 21 churches. Now look, now that's the other thing. Today we have 600 churches and 21 businesses. But back then it was more about business, creating wealth within the black community before integration started. And I think that's our downfall, integration. Hell, I'm more like Bull O'Connor, whatever the fuck his name is, down there in Mississippi. Segregation today, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever, motherfucker. White folks can just kiss my motherfucking ass who don't like black folks. You know what I'm saying? White people need black people, and black people don't need white people for a motherfucking thing. We got it all, but we got tricked into thinking that we don't have shit, but we do. Now, they talk about 600 businesses, 21 churches, 21 restaurants, 30 grocery stores, the whole list goes on. These lands were taken with the help of our own government. And through, you have de facto and you have de jure racism. De facto racism is where, a white person says, I don't want you living next to me, and I'm black and he white, right? That's his problem. But when the government comes in and backs up the white person saying it, it becomes more injurious or injurious, or however you want to say it. It becomes more dangerous. And this is what happened. At the state, federal, and local levels, the color of law took place and took command of the nation's moral authority. Because white men were in position to do so at the state, local, and federal level, writing laws contrary to the 1866 Civil Rights Act, and they knew it because the 1866 Civil Rights Act tied the hands of white folks, but they didn't give a fuck about that shit. The color of law are laws that say, well, you can only drink out of this fountain, and white people over here at this fountain, you gotta go to this bathroom. We didn't have to pay no attention to that bullshit. Segregation has always been illegal. There was no need for a Brown versus the Board of Education. There was no need for people dying like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Medgar Evers, and countless others who were killed, beaten, shot, stabbed, and, the Brown versus Board of Education wasn't needed. And so, we've been hoodwinked, people, and we need to wake up to the reality that the color of law is nothing but the law that says, I'm white and I say so law. You know what you can do with that bullshit color of law? White folk? Take it, put it up your ass, along with a straw, and drink it out of it, and all of that creamy brown shit with it. Fuck you. Because in reality, in the end, we're gonna get even. I know my people. This is not no hateful thing to say. This is not no black folks. We take this shit. We gonna, our children are acting a goddamn fool. White folk, we brought you into this world, and we can take you out this motherfucker. And to be honest, the environment don't like you. The sun don't like you. Hell, you don't like you. So you killing yourself off more than we killing you, probably. And I believe that. White on white crime is a motherfucker. Y'all are aborting your babies more so than anybody else. And I proved that in my book. But I digress. Now, here we say, may we ever choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong. Amen to that. Because it takes a really strong minded person to do that. And to be able to stand up and fight for what is right, just and true, against the horde or a tidal wave of fools who are telling you, no, don't do that, follow us, you got more benefits. Nah, fuck you. I'm standing strong right here because I know in the end I will be vindicated. I'm standing on what is right, true, and just. Now, I talk a lot about white folks history. This is it. This is how they were. Wild men and water wolves, what they were called, whatever other name they were called. Real talk, you guys. Water wolves. I mean, you can Google this shit. You don't even got to take my word for it. Now, this is Ted Danson and his then girlfriend in 1993 doing a presentation or performance. Now, some people can get offended, but this right here, I found it odd that Whoopi would go along with this bullshit. Now, well, you can say, well, she's a coon and she's this. Yeah, I would agree, because the shit ain't funny at all. But what's funny is white folks growing tails, because this shit is just makeup. White folks grow tails like a fucking dog. And you know what? That's not a hateful thing to say. I'm just reacting to what this white woman told her son to go and ask, what's his name, Dick Gregory. Go up there and run and ask him to see his tail, if you can see his tail. But you know what? Dick Gregory was really cool about it. He said, son, we don't grow tails. At least not in the back like you guys do. We grow ours in the front. So I conclude tonight with that. And, fuck Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg for this bullshit here. Because, you got to make a stand. You got to take a stand against bullshit and put white folks on notice that, hey, I know the motherfucking truth. I know your history, the true history of you. And we need to put this shit all up in their motherfucking face. Let them look into the mirror of their disgusting history, because they don't have any. Every civilization that is known to man, black folk did it. We created every religious and philosophical treaty. Period. We created math, science, law, medicine, you name it. Period. White folk created 4 things: death, destruction, disease, and despair, and spread it out throughout the whole world. But that's it for tonight, you guys. Tomorrow, we're going to really get into some other things as well. I don't know what that may be. It might be a surprise to you and me. But I just want you to know that you got to speak truth to power. Because the only way you can defeat this racial hate and racial animus is with truth. And I said it time and time again, white supremacy is a weak, lame, mentally sick, inferior mental state, and an ideology against black oppression of what we did to them. All right, and I go into that in book 1 and book 2. So make sure you check out book 1 and book 2 on Amazon. And we're going to get into the final moments of this show, and I'd like to thank you for watching. And make sure you subscribe. And also, if you like what you heard, you can support our podcast by going to Patreon.com, or you can do it on our PayPal as well. So, with all that been stated, and also check out our blog on whitemansburden.blog. There's like 2,000 things that I have put on there as of now. and it covers a great deal of information. So check that out, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. And like I said, we don't know exactly. Well, I don't know exactly. And there ain't no we yet. But we're gonna have some co-hosts coming on to the show very soon. So it's gonna be a we. But like I said, peace and great things, and see you tomorrow night. And we out of here. Hopefully, the outro runs. So we're gonna see how it goes. I have two outros. So let's see if it works. Wow, it did. All right, cool. All right, so I think I did what I did in order to make sure that the buffering doesn't happen. So let's see how it does tomorrow night. All right. So see you guys tomorrow. Stay up, stay blessed, and always remember, stay black because we're all black. And as soon as white folk can stop playing the dumbass game that they playing like they white, they Caucasian, they're Aryan, they can claim all of that stuff. But don't say that you personally did it the way in which your skin is. Y'all would have been incinerated by the sun a long time ago. All right. So peace and good things, and stay black and stay up.